Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Follow the Roads with me, Ramey Rhodes. And today I have a heavily requested guest, the high school English teacher and student council advisor, Mrs. Barb Thomas. Could you just please give us a 30-second introduction as to who you are?
Oh, you bet. Fair notice here. I'm going to make you laugh. Do you have this? Okay, you want to know who I am? Well, I am Barb Thomas. I've been doing this for 44 years. And man, they still pay me for it. It's crazy. I mean, sometimes I think this is the best job ever. Sometimes I wanted to eat, but no, it's been fun. Gosh, I just enjoy the kids. When I retired one year, I was off and I was so bored. I read every book there was, and I'm just like, I just needed the feedback you get from being in a classroom with kids. It's just fun. I like kids. I want to teach them. I want to, tease them. I want to, mess with them. And I think that learning can be fun. And so, I'm out to have fun with it.
So you said like a first kind of retirement there. So you had like a kind of period like, okay, I'm done here. Can you kind of tell me about that?
Sure. Yeah. I retired. I hit the rule of 60. And so when you hit 60 and you're teaching and you've been, it's actually the rule of 90. I was 60 when I hit the rule of 90. And so you add up the years you've been teaching, and then you add up your age, and then they actually let you retire. So if you start later, in age, like say I started teaching at 40 or something, then my age would count for me for the years, which is experience, which really I think is pretty important. So yeah, I retired and I went and helped people out and got bored. I went back to teaching in Challis and had a blast down there. And I saw these guys run IDLA, and I felt bad because I heard kids saying they didn't know what was going on. And I just kind of felt bad for them. And my husband we have a place up here, and I was traveling. I don't mind the travel. And he ended up really wanting me to come home, which turns out to be a good thing because he got busted up off of a horse. So it was a good thing I was up here. But I came back to Challis, and I'm just glad to be here.
There's gonna be some like kind of oddball questions in here. So like this.
That's okay because I'm weird. See, gotcha.
What music do you kind of listen to when you're driving to work in the morning?
Oh, gosh, I love the 70s. I started working on that again when I was working on the house, the 70s and 80s. And I'm like, yeah, I can't tell you what. The Eagles, I'm like, yes, I remember this. I remember these songs. Even the Bee Gees, with that. I love it. Yep, I'm into that now.
And do you think this would kind of be different if you did like a long drive? Would you rather have like different kind of music, or even like a podcast or a audiobook maybe?
I'm kind of eclectic when I'm driving down to, Shelley or Idaho Falls. Sometimes I listen to Tucker Carlson podcasts. I like it when he has somebody that disagrees with him. I like to hear both sides, to hear, what's going on. So I'll enjoy that. I sometimes feel like country. Sometimes I feel like, Ed Sheeran and soft rock. I don't really go for heavy metal, but I grew up hearing it, so.
Yeah.
But I'm more your soft rock kind of gal.
How does teaching at a smaller school like Challis differ from other bigger schools you've taught at, like Shelley, for example?
Oh, when you have cross country, you have nobody in class. Yeah, somebody's sick, oof, they're gone. And you're like, oh, holy Hannah, what do I do now? So I learned I'm going to do a novel at the end of the year with a little book thing so that everybody can kind of go at their own pace. Mm-hmm. I wasn't used to getting wiped out. It's really funny because I have as many kids in all of my classes as I would down in Shelley in like 2 to 3 classes. So I think you get a lot more one-on-one, that you just don't get. The classes are small, and you just don't get that in the bigger schools. Yeah.
Do you feel like you teach better in the bigger setting or in the smaller setting, do you think?
Well, I like to teach with people are in the room. So yeah, there's that. But I don't know that the setting matters whether you have 6 kids or you have 30. What I have to teach is, the curriculum. It's how you get it out. It's hard when there's only like 2 and, maybe a class of 6 or something. And one time it was just Conrad and me. I'm like looking at him and he's looking at me. I'm like, yeah, well, I guess you can just do art on your book ball because, yeah, I got nothing. And so that's not as cool. But, or big schools, you still have, half a class.
Or something.
Yeah.
This is always kind of something I've been kind of interested in personally and with a lot of teachers, and what kind of goes into designing lesson plans in a way.
Oh, man. I have this book that I've been reading for this guy, and he talks about engagement. So I kept trying to do some cool engagement things, and I'm kind of crappy at tech. I try to do some stuff, but it doesn't always work out, And so I'll be like, oh, I'll try this or I'll try that. And I think when kids get to do something themselves, they like it, like our mythology. They're trying right now to get their Pharaoh through the 12 gates. And today they're trying to figure out how to get to the gates where there were bones. It was a gate of bones. And the kid goes, maybe I'll have a dog. I go, yeah, a pack of dogs. Yeah. Get the bones. Yeah. So, and they were looking up who the goddess was, so they could see, oh, she's the one that carries water for Osiris. They're like, well, why don't you put packs on the dogs that have water, and then they could take her the water so she'll let them pass, and they can grab the bones so you can pass, And so just creativity and just having fun with what you do. I like that. I mean, there is drill and kill. I mean, there's some stuff you have to get like grammar. I just gave a grammar test and I'm like, oh, yep, gonna have to drill and kill a little bit. But I try to do something fun like those, games with grammar games and stuff. And so.
Yeah, that's kind of what I had for like kind of a follow up, and it's because it sounds like you're more creative with it. And I was gonna ask, do you follow a specific program or you're more free in your choices?
Well, you do have a canon that you should be following for each class. The state will give you standards of things they want accomplished. For example, they do want you to be able to read and write and, comprehend what you're reading and write about it and be able to speak. And, these things are important. How you get there is always different. And I've always driven a little off-road a little differently than others. And I like to PLC with other teachers. It's, to try to talk about fun ways to do things. And so the senior English teacher and I have talked about, here's the next one coming up with Beowulf. And so there's going to be some fun stuff the senior year. It's the first thing written in the English language. And so it's the canon for your 12th grade. In every book you're going to see, it's always the first thing because it's the first thing written in English. And so I could kill you with the story. It sounds like a fairy tale and you might just blah. But how much fun would it be if you got to design your own Celtic shield, if you found out what the Celtic warriors were like? How about if you say, like that big tattoo that Beowulf has, what if you came up with your own tattoo that would be symbolic and then hence you learn symbolism? What if you came up with, I don't know, a biker name, which is really like a kinning with a hyphen? It's like in football, you're the bone crusher or something like that. Maybe it's a center, I don't know, but or somebody that's getting tackled for sure. But Beowulf can be very interesting. I love to talk about the history of things because I was history as well as English. And so when you combine all of those fun things, now you got, a name, a reason, a symbol. I actually learned a little bit about the Celts, and I'm going to have them actually look at lookalikey and turn themselves into Celtic warriors. I did. Hey, I bought the poster. So and we're going to see what everybody looks like as a Celtic warrior. This ought to be fun. And so that you can kind of get an idea of what they were like and why it was important. Why is that the first thing in our language? Why it's first thing written down, but what values does it teach? And so you'll learn those values having a pretty good time, I think, with it.
I think that's one of the best ways to do it, in my opinion. Why did you kind of choose teaching as a long-term career?
I was sitting in 6th grade in Mr. Kaufman's history class, and he was talking about the castle and how they had the keep and the drawbridge and the moat and all that. And gosh, I just loved it. I could actually see what he was talking about. And this kid next to me is going, I don't get it. I'm like, oh, don't you get it? This is, and I explained to him about how it all worked. And here's the Bailey and all this. And he looked at me and he said, well, I get it when you say it. And thus I was told by God, yeah, you're going to teach. It was just I loved explaining something where people got it. And I'm like, this feels good. that feedback feels good when people get. Now, do they get it all the time? Sometimes you just want to bonk your head against the wall. It's like, I've said this 62 times, I'm going to hurt you now. So yeah, it can be rough, but for the most part, when you can get through and get to somebody that maybe they didn't like it, or they decide they're going to like it, it's great. It's a great feeling, and it makes you feel good.
Was there any kind of like other options you were considering?
Well, I couldn't be a dentist, so drill on people. I didn't ever think of anything else. I always wanted to be a teacher. My cousin, she's 9 days older or younger than me. She always wanted to be a teacher. It was almost like she teaches the little ones, I teach the big ones. We're kind of good at what we do. We like it, and we're both still, I'm hit 66 this year, and I'm still cracking. So it's like, hey, it's like if you do what you love, it really isn't work. And sometimes you're like, oh my gosh, they pay me for this. Maybe not a whole lot, but they still pay you for it.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
What are kind of some hobbies you enjoy in your free time?
Well, if you ever see me, I always have a book. I have a book in the car. I have a book in my purse. If I stop at a stoplight, if it's a really good book, sometimes I pull it out. I'm still looking for traffic, I don't do it while I'm driving, but I love to read. And so I do. And I love getting kids hooked on fun series of books. I like that. I like going out to eat with my friends. I love hanging out with my husband. Lately, we've been razor riding. We just got one of those. I took his horse Maya. Love her. She's sweet. I like to feed the animals. I like walking the border collies that he gets, and he wants me to train them when I just walk with him. Everything's training with this man. It's always like, every horse you're on, you're trained, every dog. So I love doing that. I actually don't even mind building this house. It's just, I just like people and eating and fun and animals.
A little bit of everything.
Eating animals, dog.
What's one of the what you would say is the most defining moments of your teaching career, when you kind of like one that either like really shaped you or like kind of changed the way you kind of thought?
One thing was, I always thought I did a good job at presenting, and I'm like, I did a great job. And one of the older, the older teachers, they go, yeah, you did a good job. How do you know? Oh, well, I planned a great lesson. I have fun things to do, and I did a good job at getting, how do you know you did a good job? And it was that last important piece of, did they get it? And that really comes through with, the PLC models that we've been, learn by doing. And one of the big questions is, how do you know when they got it? Okay, I'm going to use our grammar test that we took today, with the parts of speech and stuff. Yeah. I'll be reteaching. Now, have I done a good job last year? Yes, you remember that?
Yep.
Categories. Yeah, we're gonna do prepositions near the car, down the street, whatever. All those, all the fun things that you can do with nouns and pronouns. People without names, but it doesn't mean a thing if they can't the next year be able to pick that out and understand, because those are the tools of your trade. Those are the tools of writing. If I say you need an adjective here and they don't know what you're saying, it's like asking somebody for a wrench in the car. You can't move on. So parts of speech are important, and and how we speak, the academic vocabulary is important with that. So yeah, teaching it can be fun, but if they don't get it and adhere to it and get it in their writing or comprehend it, you got to go back and reteach. It's like like in the old days, leaving your purse at Howard Johnson's. You got to go back. Yeah.
When you say PLC model, what does that stand for? Just for like some clarification.
When we PLC, we work together. Now, like, I am the only 12th grade English teacher up here, right? And so I can't do this learning community up here with another English teacher that's in 12th grade, because there's just me. But down in Challis, there were like 5, or 3 12th grade teachers. And so we would all get together, and when I was department head, I said, hey, we have to look at the curriculum and say what we have to do, and it's what's the wall, and we put that in bold. And so then we decide that's what we're going to test over. And so we might pre-test on it and see what we need to do, test, on it as we go, and then post-test. But we would each have different ways of getting there. And so just this Pharaoh thing, I'm doing like a mythology. I haven't done this mythology part of humanities before. I've done, Norse mythology or other things I thought of. I PLC'd with another teacher down there, and she's doing humanities and mythology. And oh my gosh, got the funnest things to do. Like this Pharaoh thing was just, it's hilarious and it's fun, but it teaches them now how to do some learning and research. And we're going to do some games. We're going to actually, you can do any mythology you want in the world. It doesn't have to be it was one you want. And I'm just going to ask people to teach us about it a little bit. Give us a little PowerPoint or something, because you're going to make a game. So we got to know who the bad guys are or who the good guys are. And then you're going to actually create the game. Is it going to be a game board? Is it going to be digital? I mean, how are you going to do that? We have a 3D printer. Cooper says he'll print any of our little pieces for us. So wouldn't it be cool to see like one that builds up three? I don't know. I think stuff like that's kind of cool. And so, yeah, to have fun with learning like that, that's great, and so she gives me ideas. We used to bounce off each other last year when we were doing Macbeth, when we had to do Hamlet, just, coming up with good test ideas. And then when you test, if somebody does better at something, she was always better at discussion. I don't know if you noticed, but I talk too much. And she's the one that said, ask a question and let it rain. And it's really hard. Sometimes I have to ask a question. I'm like, they don't want to hear me. And so I have another teacher that sent me a really cool thing. You get poker chips, and you have the people like in a Socratic circle, or a circle where everybody's going to have something to say. Maybe you ask a question, and everybody gets a poker chip. Within 4 minutes, you have to have added to that conversation, and you put your poker chip in. You don't get to add twice. The same people always keep talking, and that always happens to me. So I'm like, cool beans. You don't find that by yourself. You have to PLC. Now, I might talk to Talia or some other people and find some cool ideas, but they're not in my 12th grade English. So I have to get out. But it's a learning community. It's a professional learning community.
Where have you kind of lived / worked over your entire life?
Well, I was a Missouri girl. So every once in a while, I get real mad, and I'll start talking like that. And you'll know if I go Southern, you're about to get your butt kicked. So, yeah, I was a Missouri girl, and then I was in Colorado for 4 years at Castle Rock before it was really big. Douglas County really grew. That was during the 80s with John Elway. And I was actually glad to move out of that and move up to little Shelley, who was small, and it was nice going to a smaller community. It was funny because they said, oh, there's a house over here you can buy. It's over by the steakhouse. And I remember saying, they have a Mr. Steak here? I'm going to be so happy. And they just laughed at me because it was a Mormon steakhouse and I didn't know. I mean, I grew up a Baptist preacher's daughter. I didn't know that, And so it was funny. But I've been friends with all my good friends are Mormon. Yeah, I mean, all of them. I lived with Judy for a while when I was down there. And so I really get along well with others, and I loved it moving up here where it is beautiful. It's harder to live because things are not cheaper. You have to pay more. And, you just can't go to Taco Bell when you don't have something, or just go to the store and pick it up. So that part's harder. But the beauty makes up for it. Just nature, not having some crime. I mean, when we get crime, it's really weird crime. But you just don't, I just don't really worry about horrible things happening. You just don't have to lock up at night. You can breathe up here. And by the time I hit Arco, I kind of, it's nice.
Let it go.
Yeah.
What's kind of your favorite childhood cartoon / movie?
Cartoon. Oh, gosh. I kind of liked Bambi. I thought that was okay. I was terrified with the witch and Snow White. I didn't cover her. You know what? Maybe Princess Aurora. I liked her. I didn't like when she fell asleep, but, and then I grew up older and realized I don't need a man to wake me up,
Yep.
I'll have my own portfolio, thank you.
What would you say is like your most treasured possession that you ever been given or you got in some way?
Most treasured. I'll have to think about that one. I mean, because things are things, they don't always mean so much. But maybe something that was given to me from a parent. I have my daddy's watch. I mean, I don't wear it, but I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
My grandpa's World War I. thing, like one of their rings, just stuff like that. I'm not real big on stuff. I'm big on people.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably it.
You've kind of spoken about using AI as a tool in writing.
Yeah.
Kind of elaborate on that.
I will. I am only one person, and when you have a class of like 30 people, and 2 or 3 of them are stuck on something, then the other 27 are just out there. They don't, and they might be stuck too, but you can't get to them. It was really, my eyes were opened up last year. Talia was saying, why don't you use it as a tool, like a calculator? And I hadn't thought of it before. My whole being up to that was, oh, you have to use your own brains. Don't think about this, whatever. And I thought, wait a minute. Can I use that to help me refine things? Here's an example. I looked over 3 people's outlines for their senior paper, and I saw some of them were kind of going off-road, kind of hanging there, not going all the way through, couldn't kind of think of the next thing. But they had some stuff, they had some thoughts that were theirs. And so I just typed into ChatGPT what they had, their thoughts, and said, can you, elaborate on this? They need to broaden their topic. And I've got, 3 kids that I can hand something to tomorrow that it's like, hey, I just thought about putting this in. Did you think about this? It's like asking another person a suggestion. Now, if I didn't have that start, if I just said, hey, write me an outline for blah, 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 then I'm the dummy, that I'm the one that closed the Ernst stores down in Idaho Falls. I bought a stool. It was $11, and I bought 2 of them. So 11 plus 11 is... Right. Mm-hmm. Kid rang it up, and he goes, oh, that'll be 11, whatever, some tax. And I go, oh, that can't be right. That can't be right, because I have 2 of them, and they're 11 apiece. And he was like, the computer says, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, my gosh. And I argued with him a little bit. He wouldn't, so I ended up buying them for $11. And I noticed the Ernst store went out later that year, and I'm like, stupid. If you don't know what you're doing, if you don't have a foundation in math, how are you going to use a calculator and know if it's right? If you don't have a foundation in English, how do you know if it's going to write something? And usually ChatGPT is, you can actually nobody talks like that. So today I had a kid that came in. We were trying to refine hers, and I had told her different things. She didn't quite like what I had, and she didn't like a word, and we're trying to figure out something else. So I took what she already had, the parts she had, and then said, can you add this other section in? And then it came up with one. She didn't quite like that. She liked parts of it. I didn't like part of it. We were cutting it out. But when you take an idea, what's the difference between me taking it from the AI computer, or me taking it from you, or them taking it from me or another teacher and getting an idea? Because that's the blend. You have your own thoughts that you're putting in, and you're trying to refine them. That, I think, it's a great tool for that. I think it's a horrible tool for lazy people who just want it to write something for them. And they learn nothing. They don't learn how to refine. They don't, learn how to use synonyms and their words. It's never their own. And it's not pretty. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like kids that can't use a calculator. It kind of, it's like, ooh, cover that up. That stupidity showing. Yeah, it's not good.
It just requires some discipline, pretty much.
Yeah, I think so. I'm using it as a tool. And you know what? Here's the thing. I have people write, and I kind of know how people sound. I know that you're a writer, so I'm not going to be totally flabbergasted when you start using large vocabulary words. And actually, I don't want to see that in your thesis. I kind of want you concise, brief, short, to the point, And so sometimes ChatGPT tells on you, especially if you're not a good writer. But if you put your own thoughts in there first and ask it to kind of refine, it usually comes up pretty good.
Yeah. That's always what I've kind of done, because, of course, mostly the times when I use it is if I cannot get started, or if I just...
Give me some suggestions. Tell me some. And
throwing everything.
No different than coming to me. And I might run it through there while you're there and try. Well, I've done that before. Do you remember that one time? And it said, whoa, I asked you something I didn't even think about. I'm like... Shut the front door. That's smart. Yeah, I guess that's why it's intelligence. Okay.
What is something you kind of wanted to learn but haven't yet, or just never really had the time for?
Something I've wanted to learn. I don't know. I usually try to make time for things I want to learn. I find learning fascinating. I like history of, just learning about different cultures. I like that. mythology, learning some different, that was kind of cool. And I do get some of that from when I PLC with other teachers, they'll say, oh, I tried this. I'm like, let me see that, And so I always give credit when I steal something, an idea. You say, oh, I got this from so-and-so. And so I think that's important. But something I really tried to learn, more computer things. I think Mrs. Erickson is super smart at, doing that. Mrs. Lamb is, and I had to relearn the APA because I didn't have to do APA. It was MLA. So I didn't have to do it, and kids needed to know it. So I had to kind of jump on that, and then I did give credit where credit's due. I'm like, if you want it really checked, go to Mrs. Lamb. She's written 100 papers in this way, so she's the APA queen, and I don't mind doing that because it's all about kids.
So I have this kind of an interesting thing that
is this the table topic? Yes.
Yeah, you pick 3 cards.
Okay.
Out of this, and then you just read them off and answer the question. That's all.
Okay, so just choose. Okay, there's 1, and I'll take. This is like pick a card, any card. Okay, I got 3. Okay, you ready?
Yep.
Would you rather have an amazing sense of smell or taste? Well, that's funny because you smell before you taste, whether people know that or not. If you smell dishwashing soap, it's going to taste like that. So, I don't think you can taste without smell. I know a gal that had her head hit, and she hit her head off a fallen rock, I think, when she got kicked off a horse, and she couldn't smell anything. Therefore, she could not taste anything. So I'm going to say that's moot point. You can't have either.
No, yeah.
What new household chore would you create? Would I create for myself? Oh. Gosh. A household chore I'd create for myself. I already do all the household chores. I don't want to create another one.
Yeah.
If I had to do another one, I would create an invention that did it for me. Because I'm like, I don't need any more help that way. I need a wife. That's what I need. Hey, well, think about it. You go home, she got dinner ready for you. She's going to do all your laundry, clean the house. She's going to get the new house ready. She's going to get the old house ready. Yeah. And your socks won't stink. It's all good. Yeah. If you could invent a new way to travel, what would it be? I have looked at the thing with flying cars for the last 20 years, and I know they've invented it. I know they use that hovercraft, or in those jets that go up. I know the biggest thing that they worry about is bird strike because they can't check for that. But how cool would it be if you could just plug in, bing, 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 take me to the mall or whatever, and then you could sit back and really read a book, and not worry. I mean, you maybe have your pilot's license or something, but it would take you. So if I could do that, it would be not real high, but flight with a car. I read J.D. Robb books, and she sets it in the future, and it's weird the stuff that she's already predicted that 20 years ago she was talking about, like watches that link that you can talk on, like basically it's an Apple Watch, right?
Yeah.
Well, she talks about those cars where you can jump and go vertical. Yeah, I'm up for that. I think that'd be awesome. I already kind of go fast on my little silver bullet.
Lastly, is there kind of any question that you're kind of dying to ask me that I can actually answer right here? Or
are you going to write children's books, or what are you going to write? You're kind of going to be an author, right?
I mean, in my spare time, I write some little stories, kind of.
Like short stories?
Kind of. The one I have is 60 Word document pages.
Oh, okay. So a little bit longer, yeah.
But yeah.
Have you ever read Lee Child's culmination of a whole bunch of short stories? They have twist endings and things like that.
I feel like I've heard of it. I haven't read it though.
I read some of them. Some of them are not murder or something, but you might not enjoy that. But it was like short stories are kind of fun. Edgar Allan Poe says you should read them, and a short story should be something you could read in one sitting. I don't know where he got off with Fall of House Usher. Ain't nobody going to read that in one sitting. But I love that kind of idea. So I would like to see what you would write for short stories.
Yeah, and that's kind of like one of the podcasts I listen to, and I kind of learn from it in a way. Is one of they read these short stories that are posted on the internet, and some of them are crap, but some of them are pretty good. And it's kind of oh, I should try that or do that kind of thing. And I think that's a
It's
fun
kind of
like
fun.
hobby kind of to do whenever I have downtime.
Have you ever heard of Harris Burdick? Remember those pictures I had up on the wall?
Yeah.
And so you just tell what the story is. What is under the rug? The kids will go, "Oh, what is that? What's that guy trying to hit? What's under the rug?" And I'm like, "I don't know. You tell me." And you finish, the short story.
Yeah.
Almost all of them become macabre,
Yeah.
and they're a little bit. But
Of course.
I think short stories are kind of fun. So yeah, I'd like to see when you become an author and famous. I want to read your short stories.
Maybe. And I guess that wasn't the final question. I had one more. How's it kind of been being the student council advisor, like coming back and kind of doing that again? How's that been?
It's pretty good because the first time I did it, I didn't know what I was doing. And I think I did too much. It was me. And you notice how now we have committees, right?
Yeah.
And so it's not me doing it, it's student led. It's like people are in charge of the committee. And, we talked down and dirty today. Hey, if you don't do your job, it's gonna be great. So you got to be responsible. And I think it's really important to teach kids that responsibility, and that's a part of student leadership. And I think they have it. I think you are a great student leader. I don't have to sit there and go, oh gosh, I wonder if Ramey's gonna have an announcement for today. I wonder if he has it together. I know that you're going to have it together, because if you don't, I'm gonna hurt you. No. No, but it's like, yeah, so it's great fun. And I just like some of the stuff we've done before, and we're talking about maybe doing again. The gal that taught me the most was one down in Shelley, that she's the one that taught me the leadership part of it, that it's really about making kids into leaders, making them that somebody, basically somebody might be on the edge of being a little bit naughty or whatever, turn them into a leader and they can use that for good. And I'm like, oh, I like that. So that's where the 7 Habits of Effective Teens is coming in, and you're going to get some of that tomorrow.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And I think that's like student council kind of things in that regard are like one of the most kind of important things that like a kid could do, especially if they're going into like any like field of work. You have to be able to cooperate and like get things done.
Yeah. And listen to each other.
And understand, like, communication is just huge. And the more I kind of like become involved with that, I actually see it and have to do it, it becomes like a lot more apparent, and I realize the importance.
You learn how to manipulate people, don't you? It's like, they do what I want you to do. Yeah, and what to do if they don't. It's like sometimes those are hard talks, and it's like it's tough. But I like listening to new ideas. I loved your idea. I don't know if you call that thing a square or whatever, but
Terminal,
yeah,
card reader, yeah.
Card reader. It's like, who doesn't need that? I mean, who hasn't wanted that? But you got to figure out the logistics. So, yeah, I love that kind of stuff, and I think it's good for them to then help the community some. And so we'll get further into that. Once you can create a leader, then that leader doesn't think just of his own class, his own school. He starts thinking of his community, and then finally the world. Yeah, I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Any last remarks or announcements?
Gosh, probably everybody's ready to open a vein now. They're like, we don't listen to her anymore. I don't know. We went pretty quick, I think, through it. Not too bad. Yeah.
A lot of people were saying like, oh, this is probably gonna be your longest one, and I was like,
no, she talks Mach 2 with her hair on fire. I don't think so. Yeah, that's my biggest flaw. Is I need to slow down. People can't take it in as fast. Yeah, but no, I just enjoy being here, and like I said, I like kids, I like doing student council. I love the humanities part. I can't wait to throw in some more art with Harriet. That's been some fun. Some music and history and literature. It's all so good. It's hard to even pick, So it's kind of fun.
All right. Well, thank you for your time, and thanks to everybody for listening. If you have any feedback, let me know, and be sure to rate 5 stars. Thank you. See you again.